A very good day to all. Today we will be talking about medicinal values of Cyperaceae. But before that, we need to understand what is a Cyperaceae and how does it differ from the family Poaceae, because in many cases they look very similar, and many times it is mistaken that all of these are they come under the grasses. So we need to understand that. First of all, talking about Cyperaceae, it is the third largest monocot family, and you can see that there is a huge diversity of species and around it is estimated around 5,000 species or more than 5,000 species of this family Cyperaceae in 104 genera. So they are grass like flowering plants. So the flowers are very similar to that of the Poaceae family, with a linear leaves and a parallel venation leaves. So somebody has described with a theme to differentiate grasses to Cyperaceae by the rhyme: sedges have edges, rushes are round, grasses are hollow right up from the ground. So this is a rhyme to describe the difference between Poaceae and Cyperaceae. So talking about the habitat, you will find a Cyperaceae family or sedges. In short, they are found commonly in wetlands, in poor soil areas, riverbanks, lake shores, grassland, marshes, and where very poor drained areas, you will find many of the sedges. So, talking about the morphology of Cyperaceae, we need to understand that the leaves of Cyperaceae they are generally sessile, and they are without stipules, and the leaf base they are sheathing and the sheath are closed, which is opposite in the case of Poaceae, because you will find the sheath opened in case of Poaceae. You will find ligule in the leaves of Cyperaceae, and then most of them are the leaves are simple and alternate. So you will also find the lamina entire with parallel venation. So these are about the general leaves. Other than that, there is another kind of leaves known as the involucral leaf. So these leaves are associated with the inflorescence of the Cyperaceae uh, family. So you will find the involucral leaves with different numbers that are associated with the inflorescence. Next, we will see the different inflorescence. So the inflorescence, they can be simple, they can be compound, they can be even decompound, and the branching pattern of the inflorescence are very much varied, and depending upon the variation, they can form panicles, they can form heads or capitula, or they can be spike-like structures. So there are different types of inflorescence that can be formed in the Cyperaceae family. So you will find in the inflorescence you will find spikelets, and then in the spikelets you will find rachilla, and in the numerous rachilla, and in this numerous rachilla you will find the very small flower, that are numerous flower arranged in the rachilla. So this is about the inflorescence of the sedges. Next we will see about the stem or the culm. So in most cases, the stem of Cyperaceae are triangular in nature and solid in nature, except in some cases they can be hollow. or a somewhat flat-like structure. So these are some of the characteristics of the stem of the Cyperaceae. So let's see some of the differences you find between the Poaceae and Cyperaceae. First of all, talking about the stem of Poaceae, they are round. In nature, they are hollow with nodes and internodes in the stem. And in Cyperaceae, the stems are triangular in nature with solid stems. So next is the leaves. When you talk about the leaves, like I said, the leaves will have an open sheath-like structure. And this sheath this surrounds the stem. In case of Cyperaceae, the leaf sheaths are present, but they are enclosed in nature, and it will be enclosing the stem. Next is the caryopsis, or a grain is found in Poaceae, where the fruit wall is fused with the seed core. And in Cyperaceae, it is the acne, and it is a small seeded, and the dry fruits in Cyperaceae, they are not easily released into the air, or it is not easily open, so it is not easily released. So that is the kind of seed you will find in Cyperaceae. And then talking about the flowers, Poaceae, the typical flowers of Poaceae are with 3 stamens and 2 stigmas. And in Cyperaceae, they are often unisexual and arranged in spikelets. So talking about the habitat, the Poaceae family, they are wide. The habitats are very wide in nature, including grasslands, savannas, wetlands, or even normal roadsides. You will find many of the Poaceae. But in for Cyperaceae, they are mostly found in wet places or poorly drained areas, wetlands, and marshy and bogs. So these are the habitat differences you will find in Cyperaceae, and other morphological characteristics that are different from one another. So there are different aspects we can talk about with respect to sedges, because they are very important wetland plant. And when you talk about wetland plant, these sedges play an important role for water purification, it prevents soil erosion, and it also plays an important role in for as a wildlife habitat as well as fodder for wildlife. So apart from that, these sages are being used for many in many cases as a handicraft raw materials, medicine, food, and in industries. In many industries like perfume industries, sages are being used. So you can see here there are different types of rhizomes and tubers or cones you will find in Cyperaceae family, and these are small corms you will find. And in many cases, these rhizomes or corms, they are being consumed as food, either food or as medicine. So this is worldwide consumed for different species. So coming to the point of medicinal uses, first we will start with the ancient Indian medicinal system, which include Ayurveda, Unani. So in this ancient system of medicinal plants, you will find that different Cyperaceae family are being used for different ailments like digestive disorders, menstrual problems, diarrhea, fever, inflammation, intestinal worms, wound healing, and then lactation, nausea, and vomiting. And in many cases, even tumor and cancer. For all these ailments, the different Cyperaceae family are being used. The most common Cyperaceae family used in Ayurveda is Cyperus rotundus with a common name Musta or Nagarmotha. So there are various list of ailments used for this ailment, the Cyperus rotundus. So for the digestive disorders, fevers, menstrual issues, for all these problems, Cyperus rotundus are being used. So let's talk about some of the common Cyperaceae family that are being used for medicinal values. First is the Cyperus papyrus. First of all, this is not a native species. This is a species from the Western countries. But the important thing is that the plant is being used in ulcers, wounds, and tumors. And apart from that, this plant is very important because the paper that we write was initially produced from this plant. So what we write today was discovered from the first plant, that is the Cyperus papyrus. So talking about the next plant is the Cyperus rotundus. Like I said, this is very important in the Indian medicinal ancient medicinal system like Ayurveda. It has got various medicinal uses, like for the use of stomach disorders, inflammation, dysentery, menstrual problems, digestive disorders, fever. For all these problems, the plant is being used in different modes. Like for example, the macerated flowers are being used with honey for the dysentery. So this is one example of mode of use for this plant. So this is a very important uh, family plant. Next is the Cyperus compressus. This plant is very common. Even the Cyperus rotundus is also very common. You will find very commonly in roadsides. You will find in wetlands. And for this species, the rhizome powder is being used for the treatment of scabies or other skin diseases. So this plant is very commonly found, as well as it has got a very good medicinal uses for skin problems. Next is Bulbostylis barbata. The plant is very commonly found in the disturbed areas or less well drained areas, and this plant decoction is being used in dysentery. The next plant is Cyperus articulatus. You will find the plant in the bank of rivers. We have seen it in the Mahanadi River, and you will also find in other river system. So this plant is very important, especially for the nervous system, and it has known to uh, medicinal uses as for snake bite, as a first set for snake bite, for headache, migraine, epilepsy, and malaria. So the rhizomes of the plant is being used for all these ailments. So the next plant is Cyperus brevifolius, and again this plant is very commonly found in the wetlands, and the leaves are being used for sore legs as a poultice. The leaves are used as a poultice, and this is again, like I said, it is very common in the wetlands. The next plant is Cyperus cyperoides. This is very commonly found in roadsides and even wetlands, and even in disturbed areas. So the plant decoction is used for the treatment of toothache. The next plant is Cyperus esculentus. This is a very important plant not only in the India but in other parts of the world. This is being used for various purposes. First, we'll see the medicinal uses. There are different ailments that are used uh, The root is being used for different problems like fever, cough, body ache, vomiting, stomach ache, epilepsy. So for all these problems, the plant is being used. Like for example, the root extract are used in the problems of nervous system like epilepsy. So this plant is not very common, but you will find it in wetlands. Cyperaceae. So the whole plant is used, or the rhizomes are used for the problems like indigestion and stomach ache. Next plant is Fimbristylis dichotoma. So the leaves of this plant is used in hair loss. Again, let's see the different plants that are used all around the world for different purposes or other ethnobotanical uses. Like I said, Cyperus papyrus is being used as a writing material or to prepare paper. And above, on top of that, the plant is also used as making of both mat, fuel, and the spongy part of the stem are also sometimes uh, eaten. So this kind of uses can be, you will find in Egypt. And the next plant, Cyperus esculentus, like I said, this is uh, the tubers are consumed as fresh or roasted, or they are being milled and then consumed and food in the West and North Africa. Next plant is Iliocharis dulcis, or you call it as Chinese water chestnut. So the combs are being consumed as food vegetables, or you can consume fresh with a slightly sweet in nature. So they can be consumed also as an processed ingredient. So you will find consuming of these tubers in China, Southeast Asia. The next plant is Cyperus rotundus again. Uh, Not only in India as in Ayurvedic system, but also in Persian, in Chinese, and other Asian systems. The plant is used in gastrointestinal and inflammatory disorders. So this is about the wider Asia. So next plant is Lepironia articulata. You can find this plant in Southeast Asia, and the stem of this plant are being used for various raw materials of handicrafts like for making mats, bags, baskets, and all. So these you will find in places like Indonesia, Cambodia, New Guinea, and then China. All these areas you will find this plant using for raw materials of handicrafts. Again, talking about Cyperus esculentus, the tubers of Cyperus esculentus are being used as a traditional, to make as a traditional drink in Spain. You will find the traditional drink horchata de chuspa in Spain. So I might not pronounce it well, but yes, they are using as a traditional drink. Here, Squinoplactus species in many of the North American uh, places, you will find these species being used for various purposes like house thatches, or they will eat the shoot parts or rhizome parts. So many of the species are being used from the genus Squinoplactus. So in India, you will find Squinoplactelia juncoides in the wetland area. So thank you. And lastly, the species here, this is Actinoscirpus grossus, and this is the Cyperaceae you'll find in the lake. So this plant is being collected. The photo is being collected from Ansupa Lake, Odisha. So that's all for today. Thank you.